Hey there my lovely horror fans, welcome back to the channel. Today I am talking about a brand new horror movie release called House on Eden. Now this has been getting a little bit of buzz online, mainly because it is a found footage style horror movie, and it's also directed and starred in by Call Me Chris, with also Celina Myers and Jason Christopher also producing and appearing in the movie. Now I watched this film very recently, and while it's not the scariest movie of the year, it definitely has some very interesting things going for it. So let's dive deep into House on Eden, break down the story, what worked, what didn't work, and whether if it's worth your time. And yes guys, be warned, there will be spoilers. House on Eden is a supernatural found footage horror film that clocks in at just 78 minutes, so it is a very quick, tight watch. What makes this film really stand out in the horror space is the backstory of how it was made. This wasn't some big studio production with millions of dollars to throw around, no. This movie was made on a shoestring budget of just $10,000. That is the kind of budget where every single shot and every piece of audio and every location choice has to count. The director and lead star is Chris Collins, better known online as Call Me Chris, a Canadian creator with a massive following on YouTube and TikTok. If you followed her content, then you will know that she has a talent for playing multiple different characters and creating and settling quirky scenarios. In this movie, she channels that same creativity into her directorial debut. Also backing her up are Celina Myers, also known online as celinaspookyboo from TikTok, who's made a very big name for herself in the paranormal and comedy world. And then there's Jason Christopher Mayer, who brings both technical and creative input. Both of them star in the film alongside Chris, essentially playing slightly heightened versions of themselves as ghost hunting vloggers. The story that they're telling is set around a house tucked away in the woods. A house that locals whisper about but nobody dares enter. Now according to the stories, a young woman went missing there some 60 years ago, and the mystery has never been solved. The house carries a cursed reputation, one tied to dark rituals, and a figure tied to the name Lilith. Right away, that premise sets the tone for something that just feels bigger than just your standard haunted house projects. These are creators who in reality already explore creepy stories online, so seeing them take it further into a horror film blurs the line between performance and authenticity. It almost dares the audience to ask, what if one of these ghost hunting YouTube adventures actually went horribly wrong in the real world? Now here's where the reception gets quite interesting. I mean, when it hit theaters and streaming websites, the critical reviews weren't exactly glowing. On Rotten Tomatoes, it sits around the 30% positive reviews from critics, which suggests that reviewers found it probably a little bit underwhelming compared to the giants of the genre. But audiences on other websites are a little bit more forgiving. I think somewhere online I saw a score of 57%, which, don't get me wrong, is no by means amazing, but it does show that over half of the people watching at least found something enjoyable in this movie. And honestly, for a low budget indie film made by online creators stepping into their first feature, that is still a massive accomplishment. Okay, so it is spoiler warning time now. I'm gonna walk through the major beats of House on Eden, so just be mindful there will be some spoilers. I won't give away every single reveal, but I will cover enough detail that you'll get a real sense of what the movie is doing. So the film opens up with a pretty grounded setup. We're introduced to our three main characters, who are all part of a small paranormal vlogging team. They're joking, they're bickering, and it's setting up the vibe that, like they're recording a standard ghost hunting episode. The camera is handheld, you do get a few moments of shaky footage, and right from the start, it does feel like a real behind the scenes YouTube video. Now here's where the tension starts. Celina and Jay believe they're heading to a cemetery to film, but Chris, she has a different plan. She secretly diverts them towards the infamous house on Eden. It's a bold move and it instantly creates friction in the group. Celina feels betrayed, Jay is clearly uneasy, and the sense of distrust begins to fester. That whole dynamic, this clash between them, it just becomes just as important as the paranormal stuff. When they finally arrive at the house, the movie shifts gears. On the outside, it looks untouched, almost unnervingly clean for a place that's been abandoned for decades. It's the kind of place where every door frame and shadow feels like it's hiding something. Now, they all start exploring and you notice, strange little details, like furniture that just looks frozen in time, personal items left behind as if people just vanished. As night falls, the tension ratchets up. Their cameras start glitching, you get these flickers of movements caught, in the corner of the lens. You got doors creaking without any reason, there are distant footsteps, but when they spin the camera around, there's nobody there. Now, what I like here is that the film doesn't rush into the jump scares, it leans into unease. You as the viewer start straining your eyes, trying to spot shapes in the darkness. I was constantly looking in the background thinking, oh my god, something's gonna happen. Then the psychological breakdowns begin. Celina, who at first is the most resistant to even being there, starts to change. She acts strange, muttering things that, she doesn't remember saying, her body language shifting in unnatural ways. It is subtle possession at first, but it grows darker as the night goes on. Jay, the cameraman, he tries to keep filming everything, but his frustrations with Chris grows until suddenly he disappears. One moment he's there, the next he's just gone, and that disappearance destabilizes the group completely. Chris herself starts experiencing lapses in memory. She'll be filming, but then suddenly realize that hours have just passed without explanation. The house feels like it's bending reality, almost trapping them in a time loop. That sense of disorientation is classic found footage horror. It blurs what's real, what's imagined, and what's supernatural. By the time the climax rolls in, all three characters are just fractured. Celina is almost fully under the house's control, Jay is missing in the shadows, and Chris stumbles upon the most disturbing revelation of all, which I won't reveal here. You will have to go and watch the movie for yourself for that one. The final pushes things into full ritual horror territory. Without giving away every single moment, let's just say that the last act involves a chilling mix of blood, cults, and sacrifice. It's not the kind of ending that ties things up neatly. Instead, it does leave you feeling very unsettled, thinking about what the hell just happened and wondering what it all means, which honestly is exactly what a found footage film should do. So for me personally, what actually worked in this movie? Number one for me is atmosphere. It nails that creeping dread. Even when nothing is happening, you're waiting for something to jump out, and that tension just carries through the whole runtime, especially when it's nighttime in that house. Number two, the found footage style. Now, I know not everyone loves found footage horror movies, but here, I think it works. The shaky handheld, and the camera glitches, the off-frame noises, it all feels immersive and it really does add to the sense of realism. And number three, the pacing. At just over an hour and 15 minutes, it doesn't drag. It sets things up, escalates, and delivers a disturbing final without overstaying its welcome. I think the runtime was just perfect. In fact, I did actually want a little bit more, but I think they do run the risk of it just being too much of a long runtime. So yeah, I think they got it spot on, but I still would have liked a little bit more. Now, where does this film fall short? Well, first off, predictability. If you've seen The Blair Witch Project and Paranormal Activity, or even Grave Encounters, you've seen a lot of these types of found footage horror movies before, but even saying that, I still enjoyed watching this movie, even though I've seen some of those previous found footage movies. Like, yeah, there were some little predictable moments, but there was also a lot of unpredictable moments as well. Just one other thing that I feel the movie felt a bit flat on was ambiguity. Some of the supernatural events are left a bit too vague, which can feel more frustrating than scary. I totally understand the mystery that it leaves us on, but I would have liked to have found out just a little bit more. So, what are my thoughts on House on Eden? Well, honestly guys, I went into this movie, with cautious expectations. Despite the fact that I love Celinaspookyboo, I knew that this wasn't going to be like the movie of the year. And what I mean by that is found footage is a subgenre that it is very hit or miss. I mean, for every Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity that nails it, you've got about sort of like 10 imitators that just recycle the same shaky cameras and the screaming in the dark and, the abrupt ending formula. And yet, I have to say, I liked House on Eden more than I expected. It's not groundbreaking, it's not the scariest film I've seen this year, but what it is eerie, it's unsettling, and it did stick with me longer than I thought it was going to. And yes, don't get me wrong, the budget in this film does show, but I respect indie filmmaking so much. Making a feature film for $10,000 is a huge achievement. Massive achievement. And I think it's very important to judge the film for what it is and not, for what it isn't. This isn't a multi-million-dollar studio horror with polished CGI and big-name stars. This is a passion project made by creators who are experimenting and taking a risk and trying to translate their online personas into something cinematic, and on that front I think they succeeded and I massively applaud them. So for me, House on Eden lands right in the middle. I believe everybody should go and watch this, but I think if you do specifically enjoy found footage and indie films, then you're gonna absolutely love this film. As I said, I really enjoyed it, so I am personally gonna give this film a 6.5 out of 10. Now that isn't a perfect score, but it is memorable, a film that proves that atmosphere can go a very long way, even when the scares don't always hit and the story leaves you with more questions than answers. And once again, I applaud everyone involved in the making of this movie. So then guys, I want to hear from you now. Have you seen House on Eden yet? If you have, then what did you think of it? What did you think of the Lilith storyline and the creepy twists? Did you enjoy them, or did you think it was just a bit overdone? Drop all of your thoughts in the comments box below. I love reading all of your takes, and I'll always do my best to reply to every single one of you. Alright then, horror fans, that is my review on House on Eden 2025. If you enjoyed this breakdown and this movie review, then don't forget to hit that like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss my next horror review. Alright then guys, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in my next video.